beautiful meeting. I pray that it's impactful. I pray that you guide the person going to chair this meeting, Chapter Yet. I pray that King of Glory, may each one of us live here feeling different, feeling like they love themselves. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So I'm so happy to have all of you. Happy to have you, Cecilia, Keen, Hazel, Sheila, and Ida. And today we are going to talk about loving you. I'm going to share again a very brief video to give an idea about what we do as Heart to Heart. Heart to Heart is really a support group for mental health, a mental health support group, and it is about helping people live healthier lives mentally, psychologically, emotionally, and also being more productive. So I'm going to share this little video. After that, I will introduce our speaker. I know some of you had already seen it, but we are going to do it for Cecilia. And then I would like Cecilia to introduce herself to the group, and then we start. Hey, Bambi, you can't, it's okay. Cecilia can't introduce herself. She's in hospital, she's at work. Okay, that's fine. Ida, can you please check in the chat and introduce Cecilia to the group? And then I introduce the speaker. She has introduced herself, but I would want you to introduce her. Ida, unmute. Okay, if you are not able.
Yes, Angela.
I was asking you to introduce Cecilia in the chat. She has introduced herself as a psychiatric nurse. Just read the rest of it, and then I introduce our speaker.
Okay, do you want me to introduce each and everyone?
No, I said only Cecilia.
What do you have in mind? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, just a minute. Cecilia says she's a psychiatric nurse with special training in child mental health, working at Butabika Hospital. Welcome, Cecilia. It's very nice to have you here. Yeah.
Thank you, Ida. Now I'm going to introduce our speaker. She's called Sheila. Sheila Bambi. I always get a problem pronouncing your second name, so I will not pronounce it. You'll pronounce it when you start talking. Sheila is a counselor. And Sheila is also very passionate about mental health. She's a mental health advocate. Sheila loves Jesus. She's a young, beautiful woman and very passionate about helping people and also developing leadership trainings. So over to you, Sheila, because today she will talk to us about loving you, and that is yourself. Sheila, the floor is yours now.
Thank you so much, Angela, for that wonderful introduction. I was almost wondering, are they talking about me? Is it someone else? Thank you so much. I appreciate. Okay, I'll just put my video so that, you know, we can, hopefully it doesn't feel like I'm talking to myself. At least I can see Angela's video.
I feel like I'm looking at someone, like I'm engaging with someone.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that, because when you have your video on, sometimes it can feel like you are just by yourself, you know. But good to have you guys here. Thank you for having me, actually, Angela. I'm very honored. I feel very delighted, and I can't wait for us to interact. This is just going to be an interactive session for us. I'm not just have a conversation. It's more like a conversation. And thank you, Angela, for that introduction, even about the topic or the theme of the day, which is loving you. This really has to do with relationships, right? And we were speaking with Angela prior to this while we were planning for this day, and she was taking it from the theme of Valentine's Day. You know, this is the love month, right? So when we talk about love, everyone thinks February, or at least 14th of Feb, right? But also we know that that can trigger a lot of emotions for so many people. Can be a great thing, like people are looking forward to it. But on the other side, it can be a very triggering thing. Some of the people might feel lonely, you know, especially because we have tagged it as the day where, you know, your boyfriend or your girlfriend is expressing love. That's a general picture, or the picture that everyone has painted for Valentine's to be. However, I don't think it necessarily has to be like that, but we'll see as we keep sharing today. But because of the fact that we have painted it that way, the fact that we have only associated Valentine's Day to be the day that your boyfriend or girlfriend expresses love, it has triggered so many emotions. And by the way, guys, I wouldn't mind you sharing some of the things in the chat section, some of the things that you have had, you know, as we share, so that we are together in this. Is that okay? Okay. So some of the emotions that have been triggered, depending on where people are at. Some people are reminded of heartbreaks that were really painful and terrible. Some people are reminded of the fact that they feel lonely. They feel like, oh my God, no one loves me. I'm so lonely. I have no one by my side. While people are busy enjoying and taking flowers and all of this, some people are really feeling lonely. And then there is also people feel worthless, you know, like unlovable. So some people start to feel like, could there be something wrong with me? Could it be that I'm unlovable? That's why I don't have a Valentine's date or something like that. So there's a lot of emotions that are triggered in the process. Oh yeah, I see a lot of engagement happening. Someone says, Angela actually says, the pressure, you know, the pressure to, sorry, I can't read it well, but I think there's a lot of pressure, especially during the season. Some girls have resorted to sending themselves flowers and chocolate. Thank you for that. So people do surprise themselves. And you know, it's the reality, but it's also it depends on how you want to look at it, right? Because if you're with your girlfriends and they're all receiving these flowers and cake and chocolate and they're being taken out, some people start to feel like, okay, I have to fit in. So what can I do? They make these orders, they get these people to surprise them. And then it looks like there's a special John that's surprising them. And yet, unfortunately, that's not what it is. So what we really want to suggest to us today is Valentine's could be looked at differently, right? Or at least the month of love, which we're still in, can be looked at differently. Or the idea of relationships does not necessarily have to be that you are with someone, you know? Because you cannot, again, there's a saying that you cannot give what you don't have. You do not pour from an empty cup, right? So we want to suggest that loving yourself is the first thing. It's the first Valentine's. You are the first Valentine you have. So as long as you're sending yourself these flowers and these chocolates and you do not have the pressure or attachment to trying to show people that this is coming from a special someone, then that's good. That's really good. That means you are putting yourself first. You are pouring into your cup. So yes, give yourself the flowers as much as you want. Give yourself that, take yourself out on dates, which some people really find very, our company is not so great. So there has to be someone has to fill up our space. Someone has to, we are always looking for company. If someone is not validating you, you're not okay. So we find ourselves in a lot of pressure to prove a point to somebody else. And indeed, thank you for engaging. I can see people engaging in the chat section. Thank you so much. Yeah, because the idea that you actually cannot give what you don't have is so real and it's so true. So why don't you start with yourself? Start with giving to the most important person that is actually you. And a lot of us have this fear because when we talk about loving you, people are like, this takes me back to the dreaded idea of single, someone being single, which so many of us don't appreciate. The moment we hear about someone being single, we're just thinking, oh my God, trouble, right? But I would like for us to actually share a bit of ideas on misconceptions that you've had about people being single, or the single relationship. It's actually a relationship. That's what we want to suggest to you today, that being single is a relationship you have with yourself. So that should come first. And once you deny that, that's when you start to look for that kind of validation or love or care from other people. And most of the time you find that you're not even getting it, right? Hazel says our first love is Christ. Perfect. Exactly. So if you don't have that relationship with Christ, because you can't be whole unless you have been filled by Christ. And that's amazing. And that, if you notice, that doesn't have any other physical party yet. So it's just you and God, right? So that's a very good way for us to start, to have the idea that we get defined first. Our relationships get defined first from our relationship with God, who actually happens not to be a physical being, before we get into this whole Valentine, getting a couple, a relationship with someone else and all of that. So but many of us, the moment we, if you're hanging with friends and someone says I'm single, the kind of things that you'll be hearing are just interesting. People are just like, they're scared to even say they're single. Someone would rather forge that there's a Peter somewhere in the picture, but will not tell you that they are single, because we have attached the idea of being single to be such a dreadful idea. And there's a lot of misconceptions around it, which we can share and engage in the group as well. So some of the misconceptions that I can share, as you share yours as well, is you're cursed. People actually say these kind of things, or you're a burden, or you're just some lonely girl or some lonely guy somewhere out there, or there's something wrong with you. What kind of world are you living in? This is the 21st century. Like, how are you single? Like, is there something wrong? I think these are things that we can relate, right? And as long as we look at life from that perspective, we are always going to be looking for love, or for companionship, or from people outside of us. But if we can just look at singleness as the time to invest in yourself, the time to love on yourself, this idea of loving you, the time to invest in relationships, with first God, right? Because if we don't have that correct, then these other relationships are not going to work. So I want to suggest to us that actually this idea of loving us or loving you is such a great idea that if only we were able to get it earlier, I think we would be better people. You cannot be so kind to other people, but yet you're unkind to yourself. That's not true. You are living a lie. You might be able to convince yourself that, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm kind to other people. But if you're not kind to you, then you're really just living a lie. So I'd like to share with us some ideas in how we can invest in our relationships with ourselves, right? But before I do that, let me just read something here. Hazel says, you're right. When we look at relationships, that way it breaks us. Jesus is the only one who never changes, right? Relationships change all the time. Heartbreaks are happening every now and then. People are breaking people's hearts left, right, and center. They're being insensitive and kind. And that's something you can't change as long as it involves another party. So yes, thank you for that. Thank you guys for really be engaging. I can see a lot of engagement happening. So yeah, so I want to suggest some ideas. Yes, but you can actually invest in our relationship with us, loving us. So I want to break it down a little bit. So how do you love yourself emotionally? Catering to your emotions? Are you actually thinking about your emotions? How are you investing in your emotional life, right? That's something that if you are not paying attention to, if you are not being intentional about, you find that your emotional life is up and down, you know? It's not stable. There's a lot of leakage happening, right? Then look at your spiritual life, and that should even be the first. So that's the most important because it's the one that cements everything else. Are we actually engaging spiritually? Are we investing time in our relationship with God? Are we getting to know who God is? Are we getting to know how we relate with God, how He relates with us? Because that's the center. If we are not, sorry, I'm trying to avoid looking into the comments so that I don't lose track of what I'm saying, but hopefully I can read through the comments much later. So, okay. So, sorry, I kind of lost track of what I was saying. No wonder I have taken
You
off
are
that chat
telling
section
us
so that
about investing in our emotions, you know?
Yes. Thank you.
That's what you were saying, but now you got distracted when you're looking at those comments. Now you don't look at them. First tell us. Then you
I have actually taken it off my screen. So yeah.
Angela.
Madam Head Teacher, but thank you. Yeah, I shouldn't look at because I was getting distracted. Thank you, Angela, for that reminder. So yeah, our spiritual lives, if that is not your center, then you find that you are at the mercy of everyone else. You find that you are the one who is, you know, this love month has taken a toll on you. You are depressed, you are this and that, because and this kind of center in other people, and yet God is the ultimate. So once we don't invest in our relationship with God, then everything else is just hanging in you know, it's off balance. It's hanging in space. Your life is literally. Are we actually checking our minds to see if they're stimulated enough? Are we reading enough inspirational material? Are we watching videos that are inspiring, that are intriguing, that are getting our minds to, you know, boosted? What are we doing for our minds that are keeping us at par? Because at the end of the day, if your mind is not healthy, that's where you get a lot of mental health challenges, which are happening a lot today because we are ignoring our minds. And you see, all of this have got to do with us first before we actually engage with other people. Because once we sort these aspects of ourselves, then we're able to give the best of us to someone else, right? And then the other thing that I would suggest is, first of all, accept yourself for who you are. Accept every part of you right now. Accept your body for what it is before you judge it and say, oh, my nose, oh my God, my ears, panange, my this and that and that. Accept yourself because there are some things you cannot change. And God was wise enough to make you the way you are. So, but once you move around to not accepting yourself, then again, it puts us at risk because we're going to be looking for that in other people. And then I would suggest that if you feel like there is something that is not working, your thoughts are not coordinated, or you feel like you're depressed about something, or, just trying to sort yourself, trying to sort your life, trying to sort your mind, you can seek help. There's a lot of counseling that's happening. I happen to be a counselor as well. Angela mentioned earlier in the introduction. So there's a lot of counselors, and even for people who say they are looking for, Christian, based counseling, there's a lot of people like that. I happen to be one of those people as well. So you don't just get to hear a lot of things, principles that apply in the world, but you also get to hear faith-based principles that work, biblical principles that work. So seek help so that you're able to, center yourself, you're able to get together, you're the best of yourself. That is part of loving yourself as well. And then also the people that you surround yourself with, seek out people that really enrich your life, make you better, not people that are constantly, beating you down, not people that are constantly reminding you of your, of the failures you've had or something like that. Just engage with people that really bring out the best of you, people that uplift your spirit, people that encourage you. When you're feeling low, you can call someone and say, could you pray for me? Things like that. These kinds of people are really good for you. They're good for you. You're able to feel a lot better. They uplift you. They help you clarify where you're going. They help you clarify your mind, your emotions, your heart. Oh, wow. I feel like I haven't spoken for this long in such a long time. So I'm looking around for water. Like, why didn't I carry my water earlier on? Anyway, that's just a side note. So back to what we are saying. And also seek out opportunities where you feel like you can spend your time wisely, not just engaging in anything and whatever comes your way, but intentionally seek out opportunities that bring out a certain side of you, bring out that passion, things that remind you about where you're going in life, things that, bring that fire within you. Engage in such kind of opportunities, and you don't have to have gotten a job. You simply could seek out a place to volunteer at. So these kind of things really help you build balance. They help you understand who you are. They help you, get to know yourself better. They help you, just to become a better human being as a whole. Take yourself out on dates. I have a friend who thinks this is such a strange idea. Like, what? How do I go for a movie, for example, let's say by myself, and sit through it? How is that even possible? But it is possible, depending on how you look at it. Because if for you companies if for you can't exist without another person, then you find that it's going to be really hard, because there are certain situations that will force you to be by yourself. And if you don't learn that early, then it will just be so bad, So learn how to take yourself out. Go on coffee dates with yourself, because all of this is part of understanding and getting to know yourself better. Try to understand what your purpose is. And I think this is really key. And it is still trying to love yourself. Get to understand your purpose. Where are you going? Write your vision down. What kind of things do you want to see in your life? I've had a lot of, lately on social media, there's a lot of manifest this, manifest that. But really vision, pray about it, ask God, where do you want me to go? Write those things down. All of this is still part of loving ourselves. And once we don't understand that, once we don't get that correctly, once we don't get that center together, then we'll find that we are falling prey to all of the things that are happening around us, around the world. We find that we are just, as if puppets, sort of yielding to whatever pressure comes around us. But once we work on this important aspect of us, of you, loving yourself, doing caring, and so much more that you guys are contributing, I know, in the chat section, we will be able to become better human beings, and we'll be able to serve better, we'll be able to give better, and we'll be, useful in the society, in the community. but it starts with the foundation. So that is the foundation to exist. Loving you is the foundation, understanding what that loving you means. All of these things, spiritually, intellectually, you know, there is the aspect of intellectually. Enhance your mind, enhance your intellect, read things so that when you're interacting with people, you don't get bored. You are able to actually contribute in discussions. You're able to challenge. You're able to participate. But if you don't focus on that as well, then you find that you're just, you're not, you'll just become mute and you will have nothing to participate at the end of the day. So there is a lot more, and I don't know whether, Angela, I could look into the comment section now, or should I do it later? But as far as what I wanted to share with us today, that's really what I wanted to suggest to us when it comes to loving you. And it is very core. It is the foundation of who you are. And once you neglect that, everything else will crumble. But if you focus on this aspect of loving you, you find that life gets a lot easier. So I hope that we're able to do this. I hope we're feeling inspired to walk this journey. It's a tough one, but we can walk it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Flowers, flowers. This is how they clap in sign language. Oh, flowers. Those who don't know. Bambi, thank you so much, Sheila. And I can see some questions, but for me, one of them, and I see there's someone, Charlotte has said something, that she loves talking to the extent that sometimes she talks alone. Then also me, I'm wondering, going out for a coffee date alone, and I love to talk. Hey, how will I deal with that? Sometimes I also have my own conversations because these days my house is almost empty. So I talk to myself, those things. So advise some of us, Bambi, who have issues with the talking. How do we handle?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. That's actually a very relevant question. It makes a lot of sense because, you know, there's extroverted people, right? So, and a lot of the time we feel like just keeping quiet or being silent is an aspect of only introverted people. But even those that are extroverted and have, you know, have a lot to say can actually take this up. It's a challenge. It's not easy, but it's a habit that you can practice. It's something that you can train yourself to do because there is a saying that if okay, I forget how it really goes. I think I'll just paraphrase something to do with if the only thing, okay, you know what, I have forgotten it. If it comes to my mind, I'll just type it in the comment section, but it has to do with being able
forgotten.
It has skipped my mind. The devil is a liar, you know. I had planned for this already, but really what it's saying is there is that part where if you're extroverted and you find that you are sharing a bit more, you know, companies where you recharge, you want to be saying something, you know, that's how you recharge, that's how you get back your energy. But I also want to suggest to you that it is possible for you to practice the art of silence, because it's a skill. It's not like you are born with it or anyone is born with it. Even introverted people, also, it's not like they're born with it, but it's something that you can practice one step at a time. Rome was not built in one day, you know, but if we challenge ourselves every other day to learn new things, I think the art of silence is one of those. That where you go if you feel like you want to say something, start with going with your notebook or your phone and type in your thoughts so that, you know, you get used to the company of yourself and not just having someone else to share these thoughts with, you see, because there's times where these people are not there and what will happen. So practice it, start slowly by slowly, get a journal. I think a lot of the best that I would recommend is starting to journal your thoughts, journal what's happening in the day, so that you get used to this idea that you can actually write your thoughts down, or you can actually hold their phones There's people who just hold their phones and record, right? So that becomes your companion. Get used to that, get used to the idea. But this is not to say that company is bad, no. But we're just saying that you can balance the two. It is possible, but it's a skill and it is going to take time. And it requires you being intentional about it. I hope I have answered your question.
Now I think other people can ask, because I can see Hazel is burning, especially when you talked about learning to be just by yourself. And then those of us struggling with our talking business. So Hazel, you ask other people who have questions, please go ahead and ask. Oh dear.
You know, it's so funny when you're talking about talking to yourself, I even laughed. So I have this thing where I actually talk to myself in the mirror, and I actually have a conversation with Hazel. You know, even especially when I'm stressed out, even the people that I work with always tell me, I guess Hazel has to have a conversation with Hazel. I say, yeah, Hazel needs a conversation with Hazel. So I literally will go into the mirror and I will have full-on conversations with myself. I process issues and concerns to talking to myself, and I have found it so useful. Also the journaling piece, because when I journal, I'm able to work through my thought process. You know, sometimes we tell, you know, the devil's a liar. Sometimes we lie ourselves about things. We lie to ourselves. So, like, for example, if I'm struggling with something and I do a presentation and I get really a negative, I feel like people have been so negative about whatever I'm presenting, and I'm so down, then I always ask myself, but Hazel, honestly, do you really think that every single person there was against you, did not agree with you? Is this a lie? How true is this? You know? And every single time I ask myself and I evaluate, am I at a 90%? Am I really 90% sure that when I was talking to Angela today, she felt I was speaking nonsense? Then I hang on to that and I'm like, no, I'm not 90% sure. So what percentage am I sure of? I'm like, maybe about 5%. Then I work with the 95% of trying to convince Hazel that, you know what, Hazel, you're probably wrong on this issue. So I find that really self-talk is amazing. I find that journaling is amazing. I'm one of those people who goes to the movies by myself. I really love being alone sometimes. You won't believe it. I'm such an extrovert, but I love me time. I will go for a movie and I'll watch an entire movie. I'll have coffee by myself. I'll go for walks alone. And while I'm even going for walks, I'm talking to myself. And it really, really grounds me personally. I find that it grounds me. And I also do that especially in prayer time as well, because I like to also pray as I walk. And I even have conversations with God as I'm praying. I'm like, but God, today, really, you know, I battle that way. And I find that really helps my mental health. And I'm really hoping that sharing that really helps ladies in terms of trying to understand grounding yourself quite a bit. Yeah, that's it.
You tell God you are blaming.
Hey,
God on
Angela, if you hear the conversations I have with God, you will laugh. I'm like, God, Joy
wants to say something.
And I actually see that.
Okay, Joy, you want to say something? Please go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, hi everyone. So for me, I'm among those people that find it weird to go somewhere alone. Like I really, want to have like me time, but I find it weird. Like, how can I go to the movies alone? How can I go to a restaurant alone? And I thought it was actually weird because you sit there and you're alone and then you're seeing people are together. So it's really beneficial. Like what I've learned is from what Sheila has been saying is, and what you guys have also been saying, Hazel and
Angela.
Sorry, my network is, I think there was a problem with my network. So Hazel and Angela as well is, I think like it's okay. It's okay. It's just something that I was probably building in it was a fear. It's actually a fear that I've always had. And I think I'm going to start practicing because I feel like it is it's very important to have that alone time because you get to reflect on your life and what, so many things. So it's a fear that me I have, but since I've heard that you guys can actually do it and it's okay, I'm going to try and do it and see how it goes. Yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Joy, for sharing.
Thank you, Joy. That Joy is actually my sister. Let me introduce her to you guys. Joy is my sister. She's my follower, and she's an amazing young lady.
What would the sister say? But Joy, I'm happy to meet you all the same.
Thank you.
Ida?
Happy to meet you as well.
For me, I think it's okay. It's supposed to be our first audience, right? Okay, I have a feeling that okay to me. So for me, I don't have a problem with talking alone. The only problem comes when you begin asking yourself questions. It means there's a third, like a third person, like a third party. So if you begin talking to yourself and you imagine there's a third party, then there's something wrong. But it's okay to talk to yourself. It's okay to tell yourself things like preach to yourself. I think it's okay. It's okay.
Thank you, Ida.
Kin, do you want to ask something?
Angela.
Because I can see you. You are very busy in the chat. Kin, do you want to share something? Feel free. This is an interactive engagement.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
The thing about talking to yourself, maybe if you talk of like I can sit down and spiritually talk to myself, because this issue of like being there and talking to myself like loud, I find it weird. And for me who likes like talking a lot, I want an interactive session. If I'm stressed out with something and I have that person whom I can talk to about it, I feel more at ease and more relaxed if I'm hearing someone else talking back, giving their opinions, like teaching me something new. Yeah, so that's my kind of way. I don't think I can sit somewhere and be like, this and this and this. Already I know my issues. I'm looking for a solution. So talking alone doesn't really help for me. I don't know about the others, but I don't find it helpful. That's all.
Okay. Angela, can I say something?
Please. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kin. Kin, yes. Thank you, Kin, for sharing that. And it's okay not to do this. It's okay if you feel like it's something that won't work for you. However, there's also the saying that if you haven't tried something, you might never know what could come out of it. But again, it's okay. It's okay. You just have to find, as long as you get the principle or the idea that you don't always have to have company for you to actually feel like you're okay. You don't always have to have people around you to feel like you're good. As long as you get that underlying principle, whatever you do with it is okay, really.
Okay, so are there more questions? Because I mean, this is interactive. We need to talk, let it out. Eh? And before we close, otherwise, if you are there just keeping quiet, all those things, then that means you are tired of talking today. This is our opportunity. The difference is that today we are not eating anything. Sheila, I can see you're not even drinking water, Banangi. What's up? Sheila, you're not
Thank you
even
for
taking
that,
any
'cause
cow water.
I've been itching. It's
Yeah,
right
you
here. So
don't fear, please sip your cow water. Any more questions, ladies? And I don't know if they are gentlemen. It seems we are only women. Charlotte, do you want to say something? Charlotte? Because I see Charlotte
Hello, everyone.
who hasn't talked.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Charlotte. How are you?
hi.
I'm okay.
Please
So
introduce
I
yourself
talk.
and share.
Okay, my name is Namgera Charlotte. Yeah, and I talk a lot. I talk alone a lot. And sometimes when my mania period is about to come, I really talk a lot and so fast. That's how I even get to know that my mania period is about to come. But when it's not yet about to come, of course, I just talk normally. I converse alone as if I'm talking, as if I'm presenting to, maybe I'm being interviewed for a TV session, something like that. Yes, I talk alone a lot. And I'm so happy to find out that there are other people who are like me that talk alone. I thought maybe I was the only one. I thought maybe I was the only one. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
You're not alone. I'm here too.
But then about
Thank you for
now,
sharing.
Sheila, what do you tell us about loving ourselves? For me, I've found that when
Yes.
I'm lonely is when I talk to myself more.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, does that help me? Does it solve my issue of loneliness? Does it make me happier? Because sometimes I can even spend most of the day talking alone because I'm by myself. And then all of you, my friends, are very far. I can't reach you. Hey, I've let out my secrets. So
You have come to vent.
particular days you can actually talk and you really had many conversations just by yourself. So I hope it's not a problem. Just tell me, Sheila, me, I'm laughing because I'm learning.
Angela, thanks for sharing and also for venting. We, your friends, we hear you. We will try to do better. But it depends, what are you saying to yourself, right? Because as long as you are not reinforcing, in your mind, you're not reinforcing the idea that you're lonely, then it's okay. Because again, we are sharing some of the things that you can do for your mind. So that conversation or whatever is happening is with your mind and yourself, right? So for as long as what you are saying within your mind are things that are going to actually make you feel better, or things that are occupying you in a nice way, for example, building your vision of where you want to go, or having a good picture for yourself, then that's totally okay. But if you are again reinforcing the idea of loneliness and you're just crying and you're like, oh my God, I am really lonely. What is life? People are so terrible. I have no friends. All of my friends are just, ignoring me. If you're reinforcing all of these ideas, then it's not such a good place to be in. Then you might as well want to check your thoughts, check your thought pattern, and do something about that. I hope that helps.
That has helped. The good thing is that I actually speak nice things about myself, but I also get shocked about the wickedness of this world. So sometimes I'm reflecting on certain things people have done and I say, oh my God, how could someone do that? What were they thinking? Oh my God. Anyway, anyway, you've understood. Now I can see Aida, she wants to talk. Aida.
Hi. First of all, I want to thank Sheila for bringing out this topic so nicely. The truth is that I confess, I was that kind of person who didn't love herself. The truth is that I'm not an ugly girl. Sheila, you know that.
I do.
First, show us your face again to remind us.
You can't hide it.
I'm not ready for that camera. I guess I've met everyone here except maybe Hazel. Yeah, but I was so broken to the extent that I didn't know who I was. The truth is that this topic is very, very good, and I hope that it's going to reaches out to other people who are like me. The truth is that I'm still struggling, but yeah, if I have a pack of friends like you, my dear, I'm on the right track. So I used to seek for validation from people. Let me say, especially the boyfriends. But now I'm learning to love myself. Sheila has talked about taking self out. I'm going to think about that. I'm going to gather some finances, put something together such that I can begin taking myself out. I don't wait for a date to with someone to paint my nails and maybe put on that hot lipstick and go out. I'm going to begin taking myself out. I'm going to begin working on myself, not waiting for that special John to come and make me look good and feel good about myself. Because the truth is that most of the people from which we seek validation from always let us down. You come and throw yourself right into someone's arm, like completely. Oh, it's dangerous. I know how it feels like. I know how it tastes like. Oh, it's very, very bitter. Okay, it's bittersweet, but oh, it's bitter mostly. So thank you, Sheila. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Sheila, you remember the time you told me, was it 3 years ago? I'll never forget that. You told me you're worthy to be loved. Oh, that's what stuck upon me like a stamp. You know what? I went back crying because no one I had never had that till today. It's been 3 years. So when I had that, it was a process. The moment I joined Heart to Heart, my life started changing. I can now live with myself, by myself, without worrying, without feeling like I'm not adding up, without feeling not good enough. It's been like, let me say, 2 months. I haven't seen my boyfriend or whatever, but I feel good. I'm not like anxious. I'm not worried. I'm not seeking for validation. I'm not asking, do I look good? You know, I don't care whether I look good to him or not. I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy, and there are always people who are going to love. So thank you, Sheila. Thank you so much.
Hey, baby girl. Now you are on fire. Hey, baby. Hey, Era, you are worthy. You are worthy. Kin, you say something. I can see Kin's hand is up. Hey, my dear Jesus, you are in this thing.
I thought I should add on something after listening to Ida. Sometimes you feel like you're not enough. Yeah, like there's something missing. Like you need to do more to deserve this and that, which is not right. Like me, I have not. I can't say I have, but I because it's past. I suffered a depression of 22 years out of childhood abuse, defilement, to be specific. I was defiled by my biological dad, 2 other men, starting from the age of 3 years. All this stopped at 5 years, so I can't know whether these people, each one of them came through after a year or what. I'm not sure about the details, but my child abuse torture stopped at 5 years. So basically, I was innocent up to 3 years. So after that, I felt lacking. Like I talked about it when I was young, and these old people denied it. They claimed I was lying. So no one ever took it seriously. So my whole life I had been depressed. I hated myself. I thought that these people must have seen something wrong in me not to want to seek justice for me. So with all that time, I hated everyone, like every family member, every male species I hated. I didn't have any love in me. I hated myself. I thought I was a prostitute. I considered myself one because okay, there's a point where the young kids would be like, hey, I slept with this, I'm a prostitute, what. So for their words, it stuck in my head. And all my life I knew I was a prostitute, which hurt me. And I had not I'm sorry for breaking, but the moment I found self-love, I realized that I had wasted a lot of my time thinking of the people who didn't even deserve to be thought about, who didn't even like it. Right now, it hurts me that I wasted all that time. Currently, I'm 30 years old, and I feel I have lived a life which is not me. I have wasted so much, and I don't know how to get it back, but all I can try is to be my best in in front. I completely refuse to go back behind. So self-love, many people don't see it. Mostly those people who have been through a lot of situations, you will sit here and talk about it. Maybe you get that person, you try to advise. You know, at that point, these things never stick into the head. Like when someone is talking about it, mostly these people who are like, you need to forgive, change, is you hurting? Yes, the person knows that they are hurting, but it has to come from them. They have to learn from their pain to let go. You get, you can't tell someone that this happened to you, so you should forget about it and move on. Yeah? That is impossible, because that's what happened to me over those years. People told me a lot, Ken, stop it, Ken, stop it, Ken, you need this. But until I learned it one day on my own is when I realized how important it was to self-love. And this, I got it from God, because throughout my years, I would be praying to God to replace my hate love to love. My hate heart to a love heart. You get, to stop hating so much and start loving a lot. I wanted to feel how it feels to love. So the moment I started with myself, the moment I started valuing myself, valuing my purpose, what I can do, my worth, like everything changed. I started loving myself, loving the people around me, loving the gender so much. So yeah, self-love is good. Either things happen, we all have to keep loving ourselves despite. Yeah? That's all. I hope I've made sense. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Kim, for sharing. Thank you.
Ken, I just want to say that you're such a brave person for sharing your story. It's not many people that are able to actually have the courage to share all of those kind of things. And you're such a strong woman because you have lived through so many painful things, and yet you have the courage to share and help someone else, because you never know who is listening and you never know who is going to come across your story and feel inspired by it. So thank you so much for sharing. I just had to say that.
Thank you, Keen. Yeah, and I'm so happy that you've been so vulnerable, because the truth is most people, all of us who have suffered this mental health issue, the mental health challenges, most of it is rooted in abuse. But I'm happy that you have made a decision You have made a decision to do what? To step out and share your story. And personally, I've also suffered abuse at different levels. And I will talk about it when I'm ready for other details, but I have suffered abuse and I also didn't know who I was. And I also looked for validation from the wrong places and wrong people. And one thing that when Ida was sharing, when she talked about validation from the boyfriends, I realized that also us as women, we need to step up and look to Jesus. It's not easy, but it is the best that we can ever do because he's the only one who never changes. He's the same today, yesterday, and forever. He's the only constant factor in our lives. So I looked to him, I still do, because he's my source of strength. And I realized that for me to get the healing, I need, of course, also to be vulnerable, to accept to be vulnerable. I need to share authentically and also to reach out to other people. So for me, I realized that many people, if you go deeper, dig deeper, many people are actually struggling with challenges because of the pain of abuse. And a lot of it has started when we are young. Sometimes it might not be physical, it might be verbal, what people have labeled us, what they think we are, and what they have told us to a point that we've started to believe them. So for me, this has been a very enriching discussion. I have loved the interaction. And it is so beautiful because for me, when people open up, that is it. Because that means we have broken whatever seal it was that was keeping the person chained or caged or boxed. So, Keen, if you want further support, please, we are here to support you. Reach out. Ida has my number. And also Ida can share it in the chat. Reach out, we are here to support you, to grow together, to thrive together. It is possible. And I really thank you, Sheila. You've really made our day. I want to allow more people who want to say something to ask questions because I know Hazel. Hazel is being polite. Now you are quiet today, Hazel. Speak up.
Angela, I'm behaving.
Go ahead.
I just would like to just, Ken, thank you so much for sharing the story that you shared. One thing I just want to share with you is that, you know, healing is a process, and the whole thing about forgiveness and how people try to tell you need to forgive. You know what? Forgiveness is a process, and it's for you to choose when you're ready to forgive. I always say that, and I say this because it's quite interesting. I've been fortunate to work really closely with children who experience abuse, and we remove these children and we try to go through counseling. Trauma is a very big thing, and trauma is a process. Healing from trauma is a process. You know, what really upsets me the most in sharing your story, when a person speaks out at a young age and people start trying to blame you for things that an adult was supposed to protect you from, and they make it about you, it really, really upsets me. For me, it just really makes my blood boil. And I find that this journey is a journey that God will only work with you. And honestly speaking, when people tell you forgive, forget, shut down those things that people tell you. Don't listen to that. You just engage on a journey with just you and God, and only God can work through this whole process with you. One thing I'll tell you, there's healing, there's light at the end of the channel. God loves you. We love you here. You have a good support system here, and take every single day at a time. And you know, part of healing is you sharing the story. That's part of what the healing process is you talking about it, and that is very useful. And like you said, like we shared here, you shared this story. There could be somebody here that you've encouraged. You don't know that you have, but you have. And as you continue to share the story and as you continue to process the story, it will really help you in terms of also being able to help other people, to help other children that are in these situations. Thank you so much.
Hazel, thank you for sharing and thank you for loving on Keen. Before we close, I want to give someone else an opportunity to talk, and then we can have a closing prayer and thank Jesus for this beautiful moment.
Okay, before we close, I want to thank Ken for sharing. It's not easy to go through what you've gone through. I'm not going to say that I know what you've been through. No, I don't know, because everyone has their own journey. But one thing I can tell you is the things that have worked for me is basically God. I clung on to Jesus and he hasn't let me down. And also you can get in touch whenever you can. I put Angela's number right on the chat. I'm also here. Charlotte is there, so we are always here for you. Yeah, and also maybe when time allows, we can also later on or some other time maybe we could also share our stories. Yeah, so just know that you're not alone.
Ida, sorry. Thank you, Ida, for encouraging. Angela, just give me a minute. I would like to just
Yes, please.
share that I have a YouTube channel where I share and really create awareness of mental health as well, and so many social challenges that we go through. So I would request that you guys, I think I'll just share the link to the channel on the group. I think all of us are in the group, but it's called Soul Deep with Sheila. I just wanted to mention it so that, you know, you guys could subscribe and then we can continue with also the conversations. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila.
Sheila, you should share in the group so that people can follow you even more. And stop shying away from sharing what you already have. But I'm happy that at least you did something. Anyhow.
Angela, can I just say something real quick? Sorry.
No problem. No problem. Please.
Auntie said I was quiet.
Yeah, it's not like you to be quiet. I was wondering, is she sick? Has someone beaten her? What's up? Now talk.
No, ladies, I just wanted to just in listening to this whole conversation, I just want to share with you one thing, that all of us on a journey, and these things that have happened to us, the pain that we've gone through, it's going to reform us. It's going to draw us closer to Christ. And, you know, at one point, you're going to reflect back and be like, wow, I went through that for a reason. There's a purpose. And I just want to just hang on to Christ and to know that every single one of us has a story. Every single one of us goes through pain. And the most amazing and beautiful thing is that for us, at least, we have found Christ and we have found each other to be able to share this pain and to be able to walk through our pain and the process of healing. So I just want to encourage each one of you that, you know what, in the days when you have your lows, on the days when you feel like you can't get out of bed, all of us have been there. And reach out, please reach out, because it's really important that you do. There's a lot of stigma around going through pain and going through suffering. Everybody tells you, Joe, grow up, you know, people go through these things every day. Our mentality back home is not the right mentality. Please speak up. I encourage you to speak up. I encourage you to reach out to Angela. I encourage you to reach out to every single person here. If you even need an hour of just chatting, please reach out. Please reach out. You're not alone. Please speak up. Speak out. The more we speak out, the more we're going to create awareness, and the more we're going to create support for ourselves and for each other. But I'll say that. I love you all. Angela, I'm done.
Oh, hey.
Love you too.
Oh, have you had that kabit? Oh, Hazel. Oh. Bambi, we love you
And
too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And oh, hey, Sheila, with your love things, Vanang. Hey. Yeah, we love you too. Now, as we close, I want to thank Sheila. Sheila Bambi, thank you so much for sharing from the heart. And why I love engaging with you, you love what you do. And I love engaging with such people. And if all of you, it's just because some of you you're not camera ready, but I would have loved to see all your beautiful faces. I just simply get beautiful friends. I don't know how God does it, but He just gives me beautiful friends. So I'm so happy, all of you who have come, who have made it to this engagement, the heart to heart. It's a powerful platform where we share our stories. Our stories are our power. And I'm looking forward to the next engagement next month in March. And I want to also thank Hazel. I know Hazel is a bit shy. She might talk, but she's a bit shy. Hazel, I want to thank you for making it possible for us to talk for long. You understand? For long. May the good Lord bless you. And now I want to leave this word with you as we close and pray. It is in Isaiah 43. From verse 18 to 19. And I want you to meditate on it, all of us. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. One thing we have to decide today, we are not going to dwell where we were before. By dwelling, it actually means when you look up that word, it means living there. Because the truth is the past is where it belongs. Where we need healing, God will do His work. He will help us. I know all of us are not on this platform by accident. We are all going to hold each other's hand. Don't be afraid. Some people might say, oh, Angela might want to, we only reach out to her. No, 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 no. Reach out to whoever you are comfortable with. And most importantly, because for me, I'm a born-again Christian, a number of us here are, the truth is for you to enjoy the benefits that Jesus gives, you need to surrender to Him. You need to confess Him as Lord and Savior. Short of that, you can't enjoy Him in totality. Because at the end of the day, He's the God of more than enough. He's the one who is enough. So I thank you all. I would like us to have a closing prayer. Thank you, Sheila. God bless you. Thank you all who made it here. Thank you, Aida, for mobilizing. Thank you, Charlotte, for being here. Thank you, Keen, for sharing. And Hazel, God bless you too. So we can have a closing prayer. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for your love. Thank you because you are the balm of Gilead. Thank you because you are the great physician. Thank you for He who began a good work in Keen's life, in each of our lives here. You will be faithful to complete it. We thank you for everybody who will listen to this because you are there with them. We pray healing. We pray restoration. We pray total establishing of your children in this season. That, Lord, none of us shall die, but we shall live to proclaim the good works of the Lord in the land of the living. We give you glory and honor. In Jesus' mighty name we've prayed. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. You're such awesome people.